Starting. All right. Hey guys, how you doing? All right. Let's do one and then we'll get going. I'm gonna play C6 next. And then C6 allows for the support of the pawns. Okay. Let's see here. Hey, how you doing, Fox? Let me see here. I believe I messed up somewhere around here. Let me see. Let's see. Okay. Oh shoot, I should have moved back here. Okay, yeah, this holds everything. Snap, when he does that, I actually, okay, I come up there. Okay, I gotcha. Alright, then you get that going, okay. Okay, I had the thing, so we'll try one more, and then we'll get on to our game, and then we'll do our studies. One game, and then we'll do our studies, and or if you guys have any games, yeah. 1 second, we'll just do this, and then we'll do it. We'll look at your game, Fox. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Let me see. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? Okay. Here we go. Okay. Okay, dokey. Okay, dokey. Shoot. Whatever happens, we're just gonna do the game. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna do my best, and we'll see what happens. Can't believe I missed that pin. Oh, that sucks. Let's see, what do we got here? can I do anything here? I'm gonna have to play there. Thanks. See if I can't get a little piece of pie there. Let's see if I can't hold this. This is hard to kind of stomach here. Oh wow, you blundered. Let's see if I can't get that. There we go. Okay. So that was I made a mistake there. Okay, that was a blessing there. No. Okay, well, we're gonna do the game. I promise you, we do the game. Okay, let's do that. Let's pull this up. We'll get a board. From white side, okay. Oops, I gotta turn off the engine. We don't want the engine on. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so he basically did it in balanced position here. Oh, just a little thirsty there. Okay, let me see here. So white doesn't have a dark square bishop, so what white's plan is going to do basically is try to get the pawns in an endgame if he was to do this, and it came down to a bishop versus knight. They're going to try to get the pawns on dark squares because that's what they say is to kind of dominate the dark squares or to actually neutralize the dark squared bishop. You kind of have to put your pawns on dark squares. It kind of controls the weaknesses. Yeah, excuse me, and that's kind of what I was looking at because you have to always plan when you are doing an imbalance in the position, like a knight and a bishop versus two bishops. You have to already have kind of an idea because when you trade down, you're basically into this. There's an imbalance that he has the dark square bishop, so now you have to play around that piece. The kind of the whole entire game. How you gonna make that piece worse than your knight? And so castles, and a5. So takes. Okay. Center's still close, so we're still okay. The rook move really helped out a lot. So d4 is going to have to be played. So this actually does help us when he pushes d4. That does help us because this opened up an attack on the a2 to g8 diagonal, so that's good. And he can't do this because of course smack and game over, so he's not going to do that. That's why he was safe to play there. Also, this allows for if he ever gets a little too overconfident, we can play right there. And we have now this point of entry with an attack. So they're all plans go. So now you got to be careful with a4 that's coming. So you have to, and this actually is a very bad move because of that. So he has to be careful of that. So he can't take the pawn. That's why that's kind of a sweet little tactic. Knight d2. I'm not sure if can he actually. Well, you don't really want to take here because then you'd lose the bishop. You'd move and then he'd snap the bishop. Wow, so that is an interesting idea there. Nice. I gotta say, White's making his knight really. It's doing double duty, as they would say. It's really taking over. There we go. He opened a crack in his wall, and the picks are starting to hit that crack and open up. And when he did that, we have now a gaping hole to attack our opponent on. Our forces are going to start storming the keep. So King H8, bishop, perfect. That's a nice skewer here. If he takes here, he has to move the queen. Wow, not fun. There you go. It's not a real human move to actually play that. Really, I don't know. That'd kind of be a little bit hard to find. Because who would actually put a rook into a pin and then allow that to happen? You know, I'm just like... So I think it's something like that would have to be played. So, yeah. That was a blunder, though. Surprisingly, black's winning here. Wow, I really thought white was gonna dominate. Yeah, that's right. But see, rather than this, rook D. This is an important move here. And now that you're holding at that point. But white really let down his defense here. Wow. Now you get to see the vulnerability of this king. The king here would have been really nice to have had. That would have kind of potentially brought everything back into equilibrium at that point, and maybe even held for white, because he's got to pass through there. Yes, there are two protectors, but this bishop's under fire, so it's going to have to like move. Well, let me see, maybe there. And at this point you can push. So he really can't intercept there, so this is a tide turner right here. Wow, that is a tide turner. You'd have to play something like that, but that still doesn't mean anything. After he takes there, yeah, you just have one block and it's mate. Smack-a-doodle-doo, he missed that. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Look at these. Look at this queen with these pawns right there. Yeah, that's resignable there. Man, oh Manischewitz. That was a good game, though. It was a back and forth slugfest, but Alexander didn't wasn't able to hold. I wanted to show you a game that Tatev played, though. This is a French Tarish variation. So So we'll take a look at that. Kind of a weird Tarash, because that's really not how the Tarash is played. It's usually this here. That's usually the main Tarash variation. And then you usually play there. I'm trying to remember. I haven't played the Tarash in a while. And then you could actually play there to hold this. Kind of something similar to how this is set up. That's kind of how the Tarash usually is played out. Very close to almost a advanced variation in the French, but not so. There's a check. Takes. And now this is plausible. We're actually going to castle first, and then potentially we can implant a knight on f5. And then if she plays bishop takes, we can play bishop takes. Oh, interesting. So she did that. Yeah, I guess you can win a pawn, huh? Then you have 3 attackers on this. Nice. So far, so good. And every move is practical. I think you're right. I believe you. You're correct on that. Nice. Okay, so Tatev is, let's see, 1 pawn up here. Okay, so far so good. I don't really see any problems with defense. Yeah, I agree with you on that. The king side is really overextended. Nice. That was sweet. That was a sweet combo. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love that. Because if she takes here, you get a sweet fork there, and see you later, alligator. Oh, that is so nice. I'll be right back. I'll have you guys look at this puzzle. That was a great tactic at the very end. You gotta love that. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, we'll do this one. Sweet, okay. And then we'll do our studies after that. Okay. Let's see. So you must be, let's see here. What side got? Okay, you must be white then. What in the world? Oh, that's funny. The creepy crawly formation. This is funny. Creepy crawly. I've never heard of that before. Kind of an awkward line, that's for sure. But hey, it's working. It threw your opponent off balance. I think back here you could have played that. And then he would have played there, then you could have taken there and played bishop takes and won a pawn. And then if he plays there, I think this pawn still falls though. So I'm not sure if you actually acquire enough for the pawn. Don't know. Probably you'd have to play there. I'm not sure if that's adequate enough. I think you still could have played there. I know you're sacrificing your best pieces, but and then I think that's kind of not too fun. So I think you could have just implanted a bishop there after I played there, and then you have that. I'm not sure actually what he does to save that pawn. He's probably gonna have to play here. Huh. I was just trying to see if there was any way. Yeah, I always look. I'm learning to look for outposts. That's one thing I'm really working on in my play is trying to find outposts. But sometimes I miss pins. That's one thing I need to work on in my play is making sure I don't fall for a pin, and finding pins on my opponents. I wonder if this is nope. I was wondering if a bishop here would have been plausible. Or potentially here you draw, actually, let's see. If he takes here, then you have that. So he's gonna have to play there. If he plays down here, check. I might be missing something here. What am I missing? I think I missed something on that. Trying to see if there isn't any other move line that I wasn't missing. Yeah, I was just kidding. Yeah, I guess he can't take that, can he? Trying to see. I want to make sure I don't find anything that I want to make sure. Okay, you take. I was wondering if you just took here. Okay, you have enough pawn advantage here to stomp your opponent out of existence. Nice. I like that. That's actually really good. That was a really good move. So. Let me see. Would this have done anything? So mate and 6 here. Okay, I knew I missed something. Okay. No, right. I felt like there was a mate there. I knew there was something. We're getting better. Do you see how we're fighting the mates? Could you have mated sooner though with that? I want to see. I think you could have mated sooner, yeah. That would have been a sweet mate. That's sweet. Nice, nice, nice game. So that you had enough. You had like my teacher told me. You had 4 pieces in the fight. You had a pawn, you had a bishop, you had a rook, you had a rook. So you had 4 pieces. In theory, I consider the pawn a piece sometimes because of what it does. Sometimes it'll actually take away squares, which are very vital to the game. That was a huge blunder. Yeah, he's going to have to do that. And you don't really have to worry about, you know, exchanging off. You're totally dominating there. Nice. Nice. The funny thing is, if he takes here, you just come over and grab that. You gotta love that. You know what? When you can do that, that is sweet. Now you see the power of pins. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, that was a great game. Do you have any questions on that? I love those type of combos that the computer throws at you. I mean, that shows you it's like, boom. Sorry if I drink in your ear, I didn't mean to. But I gotta tell you that I have to be able to. I want to learn how to see those. I gotta see. I want to learn how to be able to do that. Kind of have enough, you know, spunk and enough, you know, courage to actually do this. You know, and be like, oh, it's okay to give a rook up because I'm getting a rook. Because what White has accomplished is the ability to get two passers. He's almost taken all of Black's pawns away, so even if he traded the majority of these off, he's still winning. Even if he trades these off for that, he's still dominating. Do you have any questions before we move on to our studies of the London system? Do you have any questions, Fox? Okay, I will take that as a no, and so we will get into our studies for. See, I think we already did chapter. Did we do chapter 5 already? We'll add a new chapter, chapter 6. Okay. D4, 96. Oops, not D6. E6. Delete that. Knight F3. C5. C3. There's E3. He says this is a potential move sequence. Knight F6. And then Bishop D3. D5. B3. C4. Oops, sorry. Hold on, what am I missing? Oh, sorry. That's not the line. He was saying on rather than bishop d6, there's a c4 idea is an idea that could be played, and then c takes d, e takes d, then d5, and this is actually an attack in the Caro-Kann. This is a Caro-Kann idea. But he played c3 in that line. So d5 was played. And rather than that, they were saying that queen b6 is an idea that could be played, and then you parry that with queen to b3, and this holds the position. It's a two-edged sword idea, but he played d5 because he didn't want to walk into that type of a line. It's kind of like So we're now setting up for our London, or the Horizit defense, which is kind of it's the London system is it parries a lot of different openings. It allows you to get to a middle game more with flexibility, and you won't have to worry about so much complications in the opening. You just have to know the patterns. Knight c6. So he's just setting up for the standard. We set up for ours. He potentially could, rather than knights. Actually, let's see here. And then knight f6. This is an idea that he was talking about here as well. Bishop to, queen b3, and then a solid defense is that as well. You can do that twice if you wanted to. It all depends. This would work in a lot of different lines. So BD, now we're almost defended. Usually the main line now is bishop to d6. That's what they usually play. This is the old main line. It's not as popular nowadays than it was back then. And he castled. So rather than castling, you do have a potential bishop, queen b r. You have queen c4. Those are two ideas that he said you can do. And in this, if you want to slow play it, you can do that. Or if you kind of want to, get a little bit of, you kind of feel a little spunky, h4 could potentially be an idea. With a potential Greek gift maybe in the works after here, because he really doesn't have a really good knight there, so that is a potential idea if you want to do that. This is more of a positional line. And as well, you also have with that, b1 isn't really, in my opinion, it's an interesting move. b1's an interesting move. I gotta do things. There we go. But I like actually. Oops, I gotta go back up. What Simon talked about. E4 is a way to refute this, because if he plays here now, you can actually take. If he takes, you can take. And then if he takes, now this is kind of an awkward setup for him. You're more solid, and he doesn't really have anything defense. This is blocked, so really an interesting line. I was thinking about that. Yeah. It also talks about the queen stays off the c file, so that if the when the bishop goes to b7, this rook idea would not have much teeth to it. And as well, it allows for later on b4 to be played, this move here, and potentially let me see here. Hold on. Let me get a move in b7, because he said there's actually a line that potentially black can go down. Knight to e5. Not e5. Sorry, knight. Hold on. Gotta make sure I see this. Yeah, the normal continuation rather than this would be knight to e5 would potentially be an idea for black. I mean for white, and then b6, and then g3, and has an exclam. It's intending f5 to kind of lock down this so that if the knight ever takes, you could take back and potentially go for a kingside attack on your opponent. So it says that interesting line would be after knight there would be to take, and then you take here, knight d7, and then you have queen to, let me see, I think it's g4 with some sort with an attack. It looks pretty fun for black. So the rook would actually have to move, and potentially you can drop in there, and so you'd have to push up and weaken the dark squares a little bit. Then you could also cement potentially your structure here. So I don't know. I'm kind of, it's kind of really a hyper thing, so you have to be okay with that. c8, kind of to protect the bishop. He wants to later on potentially trade off the light squared bishop if need be. So that's an interesting idea. There's also this line here, rather than moving the queen. Queen takes e5 is very dubious. This is actually a dubious move because it only helps white get more of an attack going. Knight e4 is played. Knight takes e4. D takes e4, and queen takes e4. You've won a pawn. Bishop takes, queen takes, and yes, it's a doubled center pawn at the moment, but it's still a pawn, and a pawn is a pawn. So you kind of gotta sometimes be okay with just being up a pawn. Let's see, A, B. So you want to hold on to this structure. You're up one pawn, so if you can hold, you're good to go. And potentially you can actually bring your rook. So c2 is an idea. Rook f, c1 to attack this queen to get it out of here. Then you have c4, kind of to lock. We're making this dark square bishop very bad because this pawn can't be pushed anymore, so it's stuck on it's kind of entombed on this line here. So it's like, ugh, very not disgusting, very unattractive, I'll say that. There's also another line. He could also play, let's see here, rook c8, which is also a dubious move. We're going to go down these lines because these are potential lines that your opponent would throw at you. You retreat your bishop back with it. This is an exclam idea, because what you're doing is you're getting it out of harm's way so that there's no attack here, and if he does attack there, you potentially could win a pawn. So you're good. So he can't really play here without losing a pawn. So h6 is played to save the pawn, and then now you solidify with the f4. And if he tries to, this actually gets an exclam, and I agree, it's a really good move. Because, oops, I gotta move this up. Now if he plays here, you just retreat your bishop back, and what really has he accomplished? Nothing. So this is a very silly move. He potentially, I guess, could play there, but really you just retreat out and look at, you have more space on the king side. So okay, now this is what they said is actually the best move for black. It's the strangest move you would ever think of playing. 1 second, I need a drink of water. Hold on. Thank you for your patience. Okay. I know you guys probably would see it. H6 with this is actually the best move because White's whole idea is based on the square H7 and somehow getting this knight moved so you can win a pawn. Well, with H6, it does away with that threat and potentially now knight to H5 after G3 is possible. So now you have to play H3 to save your bishop, which also is an exclam move too. This is also an exclam idea for white. So let's see here. Knight takes. You can actually take now without any fear of losing a pawn because the pawn's been pushed. And knight d7. And now you have to have the courage to say, I need to reroute my queen, this is a stellar move. This is an excellent move because now the queen can infiltrate in here, potentially in there, into into these squares here, and have a pretty darn tootin' good attack. Because the queen on G4 pins this pawn, which means that the bishop can actually take. So what would have to happen here, the only way to kind of save the position is actually F5. This is an exclam move. It's the only move that allows black to hold. So G3 with this is an exclam move. You have to remember it's important to allow for F4 idea to be played because we need to cement. If we could cement this this knight, even if he takes afterwards, we can take back, and we're attacking this. We have an open rook. This is still under fire. He didn't push H3, so he missed that move. This is a very good move. It seems like it's not a good move, but it actually is. G3 is playable now. F4, bishop H5, and bishop to E1. It seems like really odd that you would retreat your bishop all the way back, but it actually needs to be safetied. It's actually pretty good on E1 because potentially later on it could reroute and help out on the queen side. So like with a knight move, maybe this bishop has scope like this. So it's still good. He takes, which is actually a dubious move. There's really no point. It's kind of planless. Best is actually F6. That's actually the exclam move because it kicks the knight out of its outpost. It's the only way kind of to give any opportunity for for black to consolidate his position. Because what would happen is you can actually take there, H takes G, bishop takes, you're attacking the knight, and knight G3, bishop to H1 check, king H8, and then f3 with the idea of going to h3 with a potential discovery with here and maybe even a queen coming in, something like that. Bishop d6, h3, and knight to e. This is kind of a computer line. He put it into his computer because he wanted to see what would happen. So I'm not sure if there's really any way for white to... Surprisingly, there's no way to take advantage of this pin, which is pretty awkward, because if he plays here, the king would take, and if you check there, the king could actually run. And this knight covers that checking square, that knight covers that checking square. So the king's safe. So really there's no good discovery here, which is surprising. So that's really surprising to say the least. So now you take back, and the knight's still cemented. So now if that's played, you can actually take there. So this was a mistake here. He actually took, which is a mistake. You don't want to take. It's terrible. You don't want to open up you don't want to open up the F file. I mean the F file here. See, he takes back. Now the F file is open. Now there's attack along here. Now there's a bishop move. There's a ton of damage that potentially could arise here. So you have to stay on guard for that when you're doing it. So let's see here, a6. Trying to trade off the light squared bishop. g4 to attack the knight, because the knight only has one square to go back to, and it's g7. Knight to f3. Knight e7. Bishop d2. Because the rook's trapped. f5. This actually weakens e6. That's what they're saying, and best potentially would be bishop takes. Oops, I have to. Best is bishop takes, queen takes. There's no exclams, so it's just the best move in this line. You're still, and then at this moment the knight has to walk right into a pin. Rook f2, and now you're gonna try to double up and see if you can't take advantage of, remember the f2 square. So you know what, you open up a file and you allow that to happen. It's like, hello, welcome welcome for me to come right on in, welcome me. It's like, one sec, what did I, hold on, did I miss something here? Hold on. Okay, so he plays f5. He takes f, okay, alright. Knight takes f5, h6, rook to e8. This is actually a mistake. What he should have played at this point was bishop takes, queen takes, then rook e8 would have actually been a better idea. But even here, they said that knight to e5, e4, knight e4, and then f7, it gets an exclam mark. They said it really doesn't matter even if you exchange now. This rook has now infiltrated in, and potentially it's going to be doubled here. So bishop f6, because the knight guards it. Rook takes, knight takes, and then rook f1. Rook f1. Sorry about that. Wrong. It's actually knight d7. And this actually gets an exclam because now you're just ripping him. Hey, how you doing? You're just ripping his shielding away, and there's really nothing he could do. He's gone. It's over. So what happens is bishop takes now. It's too late for any help on this. This gets an exclam because you're basically sacrificing a rook to pry open the king side. And you take here. The knight can't take because now it's a threat of checkmate. So the knight can't take this. So the only move that, and he says one thing you love about the London system is the simple nature. If the king will actually castle kingside black, the simple nature of an attack is playable. You can actually play with a pretty good attack if you know how to do it, and even and let a material be lost. The rook. King h8 is the only move. Let's see, and then e5 with an exclam. Well, we're gonna put that move line in for you guys because what would happen? And white won here and black resigned. This is actually the line that would happen here. Hold on, what am I missing? Oh no, this is that line. Hold on. G6, king h8, and then mate. But they're saying the continuation on e5 would be knight takes, then f check, king g8, queen comes in with checkmate. That would be the continuation, but the opponent resigned at this point here, so he resigned here. But that would be the continuation if he took there. So now we'll get into some of our puzzles. Wait a second, we have to do a summary. So if you plant it, let's go back because he gave moves out that I want to do for you guys. Let me see here. Let's see, knight on e5. Where's knight on e5? Here we go. Okay, the knight on e5. This takes advantage and allows for if you can, for your bishop to go to g3, and then f4 is applicable. So he says if you're able to hold this knight for 2 turns, you'll be able to cement it and attack this knight, and basically go for a kingside attack, and your bishops will be really strong. So that was what the summary he wrapped up with it on. Okay, so we will now do our tactics, our puzzles. Let's do it. Okay, let's do it to it. So we'll do like 1, 2, or 3. I'll see. All right, let's see what we got here. I know I could at least do 2, so we'll do 2. I got on a little later to today, so I wasn't able to get. I wanted to do another game, but I didn't have enough time. So, all right, let's do it. I'm all hydrated up and ready to go. Let's see what do we got here. Okay. Let's see. All right. We don't have to quickly go over it. I enjoy going over them, so we'll learn. Let's see here. So what color are you, black or white? Trying to see if we can't get that to work. I still think this is good enough. And then R, what you can always do is just retreat back. You can just retreat back here as well. And then prepare, if he plays here, you can always play there. And then if he retreats back there, I'm not sure where he would actually retreat after that. Yeah. Let's just go through this real quick. Nice. I think I would have played H6, H2 here. Huh. Yeah, I guess we're right on that. Yep. I missed that. Snap. Okay. You could play this. And then if he doubles up here. But I think he's better in this line though. Nice mate there. I want to just see what the best move here is. Just one sec. Okay, what's the best move for us? I just wanted to see. So this is the best move. Huh, so H3. Now you're winning. More likely he's going to take, then you take, and he takes, and then you just grab that. Yeah, there's really no hope now. Okay. Here's the pawn going up the board. Okay. I was just going to check what the engine saw was winning. Yeah, this, I think it would have been a draw here. They're still better. Boom. Queen F7. Yeah, he made a inaccurate decision on that. He probably would have traded here and still been up a whole piece. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think you're right in that line. But you played good, so I gotta say that was you recovered really nicely. So great job on that. So let's see here. We'll do two puzzles, this one and then one more, and then I gotta log off. I want to at least do two. Yeah. You have to always, but you did something that Josh had to learn, Josh Waiskins. Okay, that's not a problem. But yeah, Josh Wadeskins learned something about that even if you make a slight inaccuracy or a mistake, that you can reconsolidate your ideas and come back and win. So, and you didn't let the night being lost get in your head. So that was really good. Because you still were in the middle game and you were able to get a lot of pawns for that piece, and then your opponent made a mistake with blocking with the rook. So let's see here. Let's see. I'm thinking we can actually. I'm thinking potentially we could take, and if he checks, we just seal up everything. Let's see here, oops, here, Queen G2. Don't forget, we have a fork here. Oh, true. Let's see if we go knight d7. I mean knight d4. Yeah, if he moves here, well, he could potentially. No, he can't move here. So get rid of that. So that is more likely where he's gonna play. Yeah. We now can just eat the bishop. Alright, we'll do one more. One more. Let's make it count, boys. I mean, let's make it count, guys. Our team. That's what I mean. Let's see, what can we do for this? Trying to see if we can't play guess nothing. Let's see if we take here. Then if we try to move here, sorry, if we take here, he moves here. If we play here, he can actually come over and grab that and then win the queen. I'm only concerned if we play f6, he's got queen to f4. guess that does work, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I guess you can take. Yeah, I think that's Fox. I think this does work. And then anywhere he moves, we can actually just go straight up, and we're safe. Yeah, I think you're. I think you're right on that one. I think that's right. Now that we look at it, what do you think, Fox? Let's go for it. There we go. Okay, and let's see what the continuation would be. Okay, F4. Oh, now you can actually do C2 or C6, C7. Sorry. And now you're the one with the attack, potential pan attack, because if he plays here, you're now attacking the rook. So he's potentially going to take here, and then you take there, and then you take, and you should, yeah, you're up 2 pawns. Let's see, G5. I think you hold at that point. And I think it's better if he actually takes. It's much better. Yeah, right here, that actually fails right there, yeah, to a fork. That's right. Do you guys have any more lines you want to look at? You got any more lines in here you want to look at? Which ones? Oh, you want to look at this idea? Okay, here, G5, Queen G, and then that. That's one line. Okay. Can we see what happens if we start with F6? Okay. So F6. I'll move one. Yeah, this is F6 here. Isn't that what you wanted to look at? Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay, what, and then okay, here. Oh, are you talking about? Oh, G. Okay, G4. G5. Let's see. There is no G since move. I don't. This move one. Are you talking about this here on the first move? And I don't really. I'm not sure what move you mean. F6. Okay, G4. Oh, G5, gotcha. Oh, gotcha. Okay. There you go. Yeah, and I think he loses the protection of the knight with this pawn. Do you guys have any other ideas? Yeah, it's okay. Hey, you know what? We gotta try every move out because that's how we learn. Remember, we're learning, and that's the whole thing. Right now is the time to learn, so that when you do over the board for rated points, we're amped up and ready to go. Yeah, you guys have any more lines you want to go over? Yeah, you guys have any more lines? So, oh, all right. Well, guys, you know what? We didn't have any reds, so congrats, 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 congrats. Good job. And you know what? It's all about patience. We have to learn. Sometimes a draw is a win, especially when you get low in time. And remember that, you know what? Treat every day as a diamond, for it's special for learning. And remember that, you know what? There's no wrong move to try. There's a move that you just don't try because you may have an idea on over the board, and then you'd be so glad that you knew not to move that move because you already played it out before. And like Hannibal Smith said, there's always a plan in the position. But the correct plan is a plan that you know what your opponent's going to do before they even know what they're going to do. And that's a plan. And like what Bobby Fischer and the Grandmasters of old said, and even now, how many moves do they see ahead of their opponent? One, and it's always the right one. So that's one thing we have to remember. And so keep studying chess and doing good. I'll leave you with this, as Wesley So says through the Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless, and I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening, and remember, keep studying chess, and Lord willing, I'll be back tomorrow. So be blessed, and I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.